So we saw Spaceballs.
We saw Spaceballs.
I remember this movie really, really fondly from when I was a kid. I used to think it was literally the funniest thing ever. And so I was at yours and you were kind of press-ganged into watching Spaceballs.
I had never seen Spaceballs.
Yep.
I have now seen Spaceballs. I feel I probably watched Spaceballs a decade too late. Maybe 2 decades too late.
Yeah, maybe 2 decades.
7? That would have been a good time to watch it.
About 10 minutes into the movie, I felt quite bad that I was subjecting you to it. No.
See, I wouldn't have done that. It's like getting to finally look behind the door. No matter how shit it is, you're kind of happy to just have it open.
Just like that reference that you finally get,
Yeah.
where people refer to Spaceballs, even though it is quite drab.
Yeah, exactly. It's like when I finally watched The Blues Brothers last year, after like decades of not watching that.
Yeah.
Not in terms of just being happy the door was open.
Nice. Fair enough. As with Soul Plane, and as I said to you, I noted down my finger quotes favourite jokes from the movie. One of these came from the first 10 minutes I spoke about, where I literally wanted to claw out my own eyes because I was so embarrassed. And I was like, this is not going to get any better. And it's when the king literally, he's like practicing a walk for the wedding. And he goes, right foot first. And then the princess literally goes, Daddy, that is your left foot.
I don't actually remember that.
Yeah. He says right foot first, puts the left foot forward. She points that out to the audience. Like, can you believe this guy?
It's fucking hilarious.
Daddy?
Daddy.
That's not that foot.
They're in like a weird German castle as well. I think they might actually be in a like Newspan.
I thought this was the thing, when we found out that this was made like 10 years after Star Wars, I thought that from my memory, that it was going to be closer to the first one, because it looks a bit Flash Gordon-y, especially in those castle scenes.
Very much so. And it looks a bit Star Trek-y at points as well. Like, it seems to be a rich amalgam of sci-fi properties.
Yeah, this is the thing, like, it kind of looks like a lot of them, but only feels like a kind of half-remembered version of Star Wars, which isn't surprising when I doubt that they had seen Star Wars in the intervening 10 years.
Yeah, no, I imagine Mel Brooks watched it,
Yeah.
and he was like, that was really funny. And then he...
I'll deal with that later.
Yeah, he's like, I'll file that under C for comedy.
10 years later.
I did actually learn something interesting when I was doing, because you came up with the idea of like looking into this film or anything about it, and I decided to. Did you know George Lucas fucking loves this film?
Yes,
Like,
I got that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Weird, right? Like he found it really funny.
He said he said that it broke one of his balls or something. In like a handwritten, like in a loving note to Mel Brooks, he said something about it busting one of his balls with laughter.
That's fucking amazing.
Which obviously, because he is an alien impersonating a person, doesn't realise is not a phrase that people use.
No, but
I busted my human testicles with laughter, Mel.
my human testicles shattered upon the chair. That blew my mind. And like, he actually, I don't know how, I didn't go into how, but he found a copy of the script beforehand. He actually offered like Industrial Light and Magic to Mel Brooks.
Yeah,
Which is like handing like a child a power drill, I feel, in terms of like responsibility of resources.
It really is, like, in retrospect, a massive, completely unnecessary generosity from George Lucas, considering there are people out there right now that would cut off all 4 of their limbs to get their movie ran through Industrial Light and Magic at the end.
Well, what it made me think of is if the Wayans had been making, and I do consider these guys like the Mel Brooks now to be some sort of weird continuation.
The Wayans
to be a continuation, to be a
Definitely.
And so it would be like if they were in the middle of making like epic movie, and fucking DC had come to them and like, we've taken all the money away from Christopher Nolan. Here you go. We love it. We think it's fucking hilarious. And Nolan just don't like his underpants. They've taken just everything.
They took my suit.
They took my little black suit.
The thing about the script is, so like Mel Brooks actually approached him. Do you want to know why he approached George Lucas for his blessing before he made the movie?
Is it so he couldn't get sued?
Yes, because he knew that George Lucas and George Lucas's fucking cronies would crush him into fucking powder.
That's fucking hilarious.
So he was like, I wrote down the quote. So he spoke to him about it, and George agreed to not sue him if and only if he sold no Spaceballs action figures. And here comes the quote. George Lucas said to Mel Brooks, in his fucking deadpan, chinless way, your action figures are going to look like mine. And from this he inferred that he was not allowed any action figures.
I mean, that's pretty...
Don't want to be working my block over here, Melly.
But then so this is the same man who also really loved the film that basically stamped George Lucas in the balls for selling action figures.
Yeah. It literally dragged him through the dirt for being a merch man.
I think this proves that he actually only cares about money.
Yeah. He's like, I love the movie. It didn't infringe. It didn't sell any action figures.
I busted a human testicle because it didn't infringe on any intellectual property that I wasn't already fine with.
George, what did you think of 12 Years a Slave? Loved it. No action figures, didn't look like mine.
Yeah, You're like, I can't believe the fucking 12 Years a Slave figures looked exactly like the Millennium Falcon.
Just like fucking Lando. Who are all these Landos? Pajama Landos.
You can only see the world in terms of Landos.
Yep, that's right. And Mace Windu, I guess.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Afterwards.
What have I done again?
That's insane. That's
Yep.
actually ridiculous. That's actually flushed everything I have about this film out of my head. Okay, film. Yeah.
Yeah.
It hasn't aged well.
No.
Some of the comedy, like the occasional, I think I know why people remember this fondly.
Yeah.
And it's because there are like 5 or 6 jokes that over the years you probably refined to the point where you just find them really funny in your head. But yeah, I think as like a 90-minute piece, it's really...
It tests your
It's a bit of a
patience, doesn't
chore,
it?
yeah.
Yeah, it was a chore.
Weirdly enough, one of the least chorus shots, and that's just because no one was like embarrassing themselves, was the 1.5 minute flyby on the spaceship at the beginning.
Oh, where it just keeps getting bigger and
bigger
bigger and more
bigger.
complicated.
Yeah.
That was decent.
I liked that a lot.
Mm.
That was good. Mainly because like John Candy wasn't like fucking just like gaping his ass for quarters. Like it was
I need Coke and hot dogs.
some real shit bits in this.
Yep.
There was like loads of John Candy's performance was really terrible actually, which is a shame because
John Candy dressed as a dog.
yeah, as a dog, as a Wookiee, like a Wookiee pastiche.
With a tail that, molests women.
Prehensile tail, yeah.
Ha 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 ha.
Oh, it's the 80s.
Yeah.
That's still fine. Joan Rivers as C-3PO.
I don't remember laughing at a single Joan Rivers joke.
No.
Yeah. There were huge swathes of it, like, the whole bit where they go to see Mel Brooks, who's Yoda.
Yep.
And what did they decide to call him in their infinite wisdom? Yogurt.
It's called yogurt,
Yeah. See, it's funny because it begins with a Y and an O, but it doesn't end the same way that the Star Wars character's name does.
Yeah, I just don't...
It's different.
But then I was trying to think of like a funnier name to call him afterwards. I don't know. There's not like... It needs to be connected to something.
They called the movie Spaceballs.
Yeah.
They could have just called him like Wanghead.
Yeah, that's better. That's much better. Yeah. Little green schlogger.
Or he could have just been called like Boda or Soda.
Soda, perfect.
Yeah.
There you go. That's better.
It's still not funny, but it's
works.
less like cumbersome and unwieldy as yogurt.
Yogurt. I mean, it makes you feel better. He apparently really suffered playing yogurt.
Did he?
Like, yeah, because he like his knees really hurt because he had to like walk around on his knees.
Oh, that's good.
Like in true Jewish fashion, the paint gave him like a really bad reaction.
Oh my god! Oh my god! I was playing this offensive Jewish stereotype, and God punished me.
Yeah, so he suffered for his crimes at least.
I'm sure his whole family, especially like the survivors, of which there would be some in Mel Brooks' family, were really like, so you play this big droopy nosed perverted green monster who lives in the desert. What's going on, Mel? Never come back to Israel.
Oh, his right to return was revoked.
We will have Palestinians before we will have you, Mel.
My factoid about this film, and it actually relates to probably my favourite character in the film.
Yeah.
My favourite main character at least, because my favourite character appears for but a couple of seconds.
Right.
But my favourite main character is probably Lone Star. He was actually quite fun.
The president from Independence Day.
Indeed, and that's what my fact has to do with.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I quite liked Colonel Sanders.
Oh, yeah. I liked him as well. I don't know what it was. None of the characters on the ship were really sticking with me. I think maybe Dark Helmet was overpowering everyone a little bit.
But the thing is like the presence of Dark Helmet is really overpowering, but it's also like they forgot to write most of the jokes for him.
I was going to come to this. It's like they looked at him every time and they're like, he's funny enough by himself. He's just a big helmet.
Because Rick Moranis was just so famous then. It's like, but guys... It's just a short man dressed as Darth Vader.
Yeah, a comical helmet. I don't know why. In the same way, sort of like your mind warp stuff, and because I'd never seen Spaceballs or anything, I don't think even any sort of like moving footage from the film. I always assumed it was a child.
Oh, okay. Like
Macaulay Culkin or something, or like.
Oh, nice.
I just assumed it was just like a little child in a big helmet.
I would have enjoyed that.
But it's not. It's a fully grown man, and I don't know why he looked so much like a child to me.
Some of the worst jokes in all of it took place on the ship. There was, what's the matter, Colonel Sanders? Are you chicken?
That was terrible.
Yeah, that hurt a little bit.
Yep.
And there's when they go to like ludicrous.
Because the thing is, him being called
speed.
It's like an anti-joke because it ruined the funny joke of him being called Colonel Sanders.
Yeah. It's again. It's like the right foot first thing. It's like, did you get it? It's like, yes, Mel, I did get it. And he's like, but let me explain it to you again.
Yeah, it's not trusting your audience, which is just terrible.
They also have if you don't get us the money, pizza is going to send out for you, head in hands.
I didn't even realise that was a joke. That was fucking hilarious. Pizza Hut was pretty good. The
like
makeup,
Pizza Hut.
makeup on him, or whatever it was.
Actually made me physically sick.
Yeah, it was horrible.
supposed
I wonder if that was Industrial Light and Magic.
That was just George Lucas on his day off.
Imagine how annoyed you'd be if you joined ILM and like it's your first day on the job.
First gig, yeah.
And George Lucas is just like, I wrote a really funny non-copyright infringing script.
I want you to do a Winnebago floating in space. And I want you to kind of half-arse it as well.
Yeah. I want you to animate John Candy's ears and ass.
Don't spend too much money. As it got to the end, the plot wrapped itself up like a sincere movie. Like it turned out he was always a prince, so then he could marry the princess.
Yeah, that was
and
kind
I was
of
like, okay.
Yeah, I hate it when films do this as well. And like comedy films do this all the time. Wayne films do this a lot as well, where they like insist on having like the actual structure of a plot.
Well, yeah.
Like you because you could do anything else. Like you've literally unshackled yourself from reality. You can do whatever you want. You can end on the craziest thing ever. This is why, as much as I hate Sausage Party,
right?
I do hate Sausage Party. I'll always respect it for ending on a giant fucking 5-minute orgy. Because there was no reason not to.
Yeah.
Like, fuck, you've already fucked away, you already, like, spaffed $1 million up the wall, you might as well have some fun with it in the end.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean anything.
You know what movie...
Just have them all fuck each other. Like,
you know what movie I almost really liked for the same reason, and then ruined it, and I don't even care? Like, Ted. So Ted was... Half of Ted is Mark Wahlberg being an aging stoner who's inexplicably, like, fucking jacked. Smoking weed.
Of course he wasn't willing to change his appearance for that.
And just hanging out with, like, Peter Griffin as a teddy bear who, like, loves prostitutes. Right. And so I'm watching it, I'm like, yes. And then halfway through the movie, it starts being about how someone wants to kidnap Ted, and then Ted dies, and he actually has to wish upon a star again so he can bring Ted back to life. And it just stops being funny. It starts being like a sincere Disney movie. It's like I watched this for respite from sincere Disney bullshit.
Yeah, it's like you don't need to have a second act lull where you remember it's a film and try and fucking follow the act's structure. I have a question, sorry. You said wish upon a star again. Is that how Ted is born?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'll accept that as a setup.
No, that's fine. That's fine as a setup because it takes seconds. But if you have to, then it then becomes a plot point. And
fucking does it again. Then obviously the end of this movie. Fucking, I am your father's brother's sister's cousin's roommate.
Yeah.
Decent gag.
That was fine. I mean, it's the one I knew. I think it's the and it works. And
I do think it's wrong. This movie has cult status.
Yeah,
it should be forgotten.
I think it.
It was panned when it came out, by the way.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh shit! I didn't know.
Everyone just kept right. Roger Ebert gave it like 2.5, and then was like, "Listen, it's fine, but this is so not funny just because." If we were going to make a big Star Wars parody with Mel Brooks, he should have made it 10 years ago. Like, we're all Star Wars'd out.
Yeah, like I guess it was like 4 years after Return of the Jedi, right? So no one gave a shit anymore.
If I made an Indiana Jones parody now, it would just be like, why are you doing this?
Yeah. Well, they'd think you're trying to like get the drop on Steven Spielberg for the next one.
That's right. I'm going to fuck up Indiana Jones 5 harder than you ever could, Steven.
So you want to know my fact?
Yeah, please. Go on.
So, in Spaceballs, a film of cult status,
yes,
Bill Pullman has the call sign, Lone Star has the call sign Eagle 5, which is the same call sign he has in Independence Day.
Are you fucking kidding me?
No. He picked that. It's a Spaceballs callback.
Wow.
He
was standing.
Because you remember he's a pilot, isn't he?
No, I remember. I remember the president going into battle.
Exactly.
With Randy Quaid.
as Eagle 5. That is a Spaceball. That is a Spaceballs.
I can't believe he did Spaceballs. How dare he besmirch the good name of Roland Emmerich?
I know, right? I was like, fuck you. The one thing you do.
This is like the most perfect movie ever made. Independence Day, and you fuck it up like this.
I actually got weirdly into Bill Pullman after watching Spaceballs. I was like researching him pretty fucking dramatically.
You know that his like degree was in like history of fine art.
Yeah.
He was an artist before he put his hand over his knob and a lightsaber came out. Yeah. I'm going to play that clip right there.
Please.
Fuck you, Bill Pullman.
Yeah, no, it was weird. It seems like a lot of squandered talent.
Yeah. I would be ashamed to have been in this, but, you know, that's just me. John Candy's obviously too dead to be ashamed.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, Mel Brooks... So, yeah, let's go on to this, actually. So, Mel Brooks keeps fucking talking about making this again. Or another one.
Because it had moderate, like, latter-day success on, like, video and DVD, he seems to think that means there is an enormous market for Spaceballs.
Because it's, like, riding off the tailcoat of the incredibly successful Star Star Wars franchise,
Yeah.
and it's always remembered as like the one big Star Wars parody,
Mm.
which I think he is inadvertently mistaken for people approving of it. But yeah, so not only does he keep talking about doing it, many of the principal actors and actresses who are younger than fucking Mel Brooks have died in between.
He's in his 90s, and yeah, he saw The Force Awakens.
Which is weird.
Yeah, that is weird.
He shouldn't have been allowed on that screen. They should be like, you know how they say like Legos for like between 12-year-olds and 99-year-olds?
Yeah.
They should like turn you away.
That's right. You're not.
There's no benefit in you seeing this.
Okay, so Mel Brooks escapes from the home. Confirmed. I read about it in the news, so you don't have to look it up. Fucking wanders into a screening in 2015, sees that because of the iconography, it's Star Wars.
He's dressed in like a suit and a bow tie as well.
Yeah.
Dapper escape.
Flashes back to when he made Spaceballs and concludes publicly that now would be a good time to release a sequel, of which there are 2 titles. There's one that Rick Moranis came up with, which was Spaceballs 3, The Search for Spaceballs 2, and his one, Spaceballs 2, The Search for More Money.
So, oh my god. I mean, they're both terrible. I saw actually...
The Search for My Professional Dignity.
Well, that's the problem. It's a bit late in the game. Like this.
You know when the last time Mel Brooks directed a movie was?
No.
1995. And he's just going to jump back on the horse. Men in Tights.
Oh.
Robin Hood.
Yeah. Shit. Yeah, no, he's definitely not going to do that. This is like pie in the sky dreaming.
Yeah. It's a man who is just about to be delivered his medication.
He definitely doesn't even own the rights to Spaceballs, does he? That's definitely like MGM's.
Yeah, absolutely. And they must have like sold them to like a Vietnamese sweatshop for some cocaine at some point.
Definitely.
Maybe.
Tried to sell them to George Lucas. Just like,
I don't want this shit.
Tried to sell them to Disney, like, hell no.
Yeah. But you're buying everything, yes, but not Spaceballs.
Yeah. What a strange cult film.
I've been running with this theory since I was a teenager, when I first got into cult movies and realised that most of the ones that weren't Evil Dead were shit, or weren't actually cult movies. Like people say Fight Club's a cult movie and it's not, it's massive.
Yeah,
but
so.
Cult movies tend to just be quite shitty, kitschy movies that aren't good, that people who don't watch a lot of movies kind of attach themselves to, not knowing that there's an alternative.
Yeah, I could agree with that.
Yeah. I have one more fact.
Go for it.
So, the song, Spaceballs, the hit song from the end of this movie, as part of like the merchandise pantheon.
Oh.
Spaceballs!
Yeah, I remember.
So, it's by an R&B like band called The Spinners, who wrote another song that featured in a spacefaring, funny kind of epic. Right. So they wrote The Rubber Band Man, which plays when the Guardians of the Galaxy first appear in Avengers Infinity War.
What the fuck?
Same guys.
What the fuck?
Yep.
That's mad. How are they still working? That's the same as Mel Brooks. How the fuck are they still working?
One of them is still alive.
Okay.
The rest of them are all dead.
Oh, okay.
Another sad story.
Yeah, I guess Spaceballs really does shorten your lifespan. Maybe there's some sort of conspiracy. Someone's going around like popping them all off.
It was the 80s, so I think the thing that's popping them all off is the massive amounts of cocaine that they were doing during that era.
Well, the Spaceballs called them.
Yeah.
I feel so bad doing Spaceball drugs. I feel like I just don't
It's
deserve.
called a Spaceball.
I don't deserve these Spaceball drugs. Like my wife sees me scooping them all in bins. Like, you giving up? It's like, no, I just don't want these specific Spaceball drugs. Yeah, I got one last thing to say, which is my favourite character was John Hurt. Because he's in this film.
Oh,
that was a glimmer of light at the end after a 90-minute slog.
That was fucking hilarious.
It was a great joke.
John Hurt and some people who were made to look like the crew from Alien?
Yeah, they're made to look like the crew of the... it's not called the Morpheus, is it?
No. Now you've made me just think of the Nebuchadnezzar, which is also not it.
No. Oh,
fuck.
You can remember this.
It's called the fucking Captain Bastard.
The Captain Bastard.
Captain Bastard and the Acid Blood. Nostromo!
Yes!
Fucking yes. Done. Alright. I have one more thing.
Go on.
Guess who Mel Brooks' son is? You know him.
It's not the Nemo guy.
It's Max Brooks who wrote the Zombie Survival Guide
World
War Z.
I wondered if it's the guy who voices Nemo.
Oh, no.
Isn't he a Brooks?
Maybe.
I think he's Al Brooks.
Yeah.
Shit. So, the zombie, so...
Yeah, Zombie Survival Guide and World War Z.
So is Max Brooks really old, or did Mel Brooks fuck really old?
I think he probably could have been fucking for ages.
Because I would assume Max Brooks was like a autistic 40-year-old. But
yeah.
if he's Mel Brooks' son, that would put him more like an autistic 60-year-old at this point.
That book came out in 2006?
Could easily be an autistic 50-year-old.
Yeah,
we'll narrow it down.
Okay. We'll get there eventually. We'll hunt him down. We'll ask some questions.
That's fucking mad.
Yeah.
What a small world.
Confirmed. Read it on The Guardian. He said he was inspired to write it by living with his aging zombie-like father.
That's a joke.
That is a joke.
Ah, that's good.
Of course it's a joke.
I don't know. Fucking hell, I don't know what Mel Brooks is up to.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, could be fucking zonk.
Shuffling around the hallways, saying, remake Spaceballs.
So I'm gonna say do not bother watching Spaceballs.
No, avoid. It made me feel kind of sad, actually. Bye-bye now.
The bus! Ho ho!